Tennessee, my dude Tenn. I don't even know how he's still alive to this point. My guy got active in episode 3, but couldn't shoot anyone because of innocence. But that's besides the point. What's on the point that even he agreed and said to AJ, you can't let her hurt anyone else. Now that tells you that even an innocent kid like Tenn knows that Lily isn't someone to let go of or to spare. Continuing the same Tenn's topic, what is next for Tenn? What's his role for episode 4? What's the backstory of his scar? Sure, if Minerva is still alive, there's some stuff he could do there, and that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at Tenn's role in episode 4 and a leak that gives us some direction to his scar and Minerva's backstory from back in the past. So this is going to be an interesting video. Let's see how it goes. And we're now officially making episode 4 theory videos, so without further ado, let's do this. Let's start slow with this role from episode 3. You see, he wasn't used that much apart from him versus Willie, him learning about Minerva being alive, and at the same time Sophie's death and forgiving Minerva for something, which we'll come to in just a second. And finally, the ending where we learned and drew a simple fine line between how important it is to be like AJ in an apocalyptic world like this. He almost got shot by Lily before AJ stopped her, and that's about it. We also learned that Minerva, even after being brainwashed, still cares about her little brother in his boots, which was kinda cute. I mean, she's evil, so, no thanks. Tenn was struggling a lot psychologically throughout episode 3, from him being pushed by Willie to man up, to learning about one sister's death, and the other being brainwashed and then almost killing someone to save his friends. Now that was a lot for someone like Tenn. You see, now that you look at stuff from an individual perspective, Tenn was quite developed throughout episode 4, and quickly became an interesting character. He has to have some sort of development otherwise. But yeah, he's still alive because he's MIA by the end of episode 3. And what's in store for us, fans of Tenn? We're not really sure. Or are we? Now, let's talk about a leak. To this point, the only leak from episode 3's files. And as always, our go-to account for leaks is of course at AJ Clem Walking on Instagram, as we've shared stuff in the past too. Anyways, let's see what is the actual leak. So in the game's files, there was this file with an interesting name, Tennyson_head flashback. Now that explains everything in itself. Let's break that down. So the first thing is Tenn, of course, Tennessee, we already know. The second one is head. Now that is quite interesting because we've always had questions about how he got that scar. So that hints that there's something regarding Tenn's head. And finally, the most interesting one, flashback, which hints that we're gonna see a literal flashback of how Tennessee got that scar. Now that is something worth talking about. So that confirms that we're gonna see a flashback of Tenn's scar and how he got that. So let's go in a little bit more detail. You see, we made a video on how he got that scar, but let's talk about what we think and how we think this is going to play out. So as we know, Minerva is alive. Tenn is also alive, which means that there's bound to be an interaction of some sort between them, which if not... But going back to that topic, after we get back on ground safely from the boat, Violet with Minerva, Lewis, Asim, Omar, and Tenn, alongside James, hopefully, and Clem and AJ of course. Man, there's a lot of characters. I'm scared. Anyways, that might lead to good back and forth conversations between Minerva, Violet, and Tenn, which might prompt to a flashback. Now, I want to point out that previous line of Tenn forgiving Minerva. You see, at first, we might be thinking, for what? Well, it could go in two directions. Number one, in Tenn's head, he thinks that Minerva blames herself for Sophie's death and leaving Tenn, her brother, back at school, which prompts Tenn to say, I forgive Minnie. Don't let that take you down or whatever, so that's your number one possibility. Number two, this is quite solid thanks to Reddit, that the scar on his head is Minerva's fault, and she never got the chance to say sorry, or they never got the chance to talk about it in detail. Now that Minerva's back, and Tenn is getting mature a little bit, this is what this might be about, and it's quite solid. All in all, Tenn's been quite a character in episode 3, and we can only expect good stuff in episode 4 for Tenn. How is this going to play out? We'll have to wait and find out, but that'll do it for today's video. Remember, if you liked this video, and you want to see more, hit that like button. And if you're new here, smack that subscribe button. And don't forget to subscribe to me, Nicole, where I'll be starting my Amnesia: The Dark Descent Let's Play next week. Until next time, take care and keep gaming.